Hey, what's up? This Keywielder Oblivion. I'm here with a video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is my list of the Kingdom Hearts series from my least favorite game to my best game. Also a disclaimer, even though I have like a least favorite game and the best game, that does not mean by any means that I hate a game or I love a game. Well, obviously I love a game a lot, but that doesn't mean that I hate a game to like thing, because I love all the Kingdom Hearts games, but this is like a list from my least favorite game to my most favorite game. So let's get into it. So at the number 7 spot, I never got a chance to play Recoded, so I will put it at the end of this list as my least favorite because I've heard what people had to say about it, and I also watched the cinematic in 2.5 or 1.5. I forgot which cinematic it was in. So I think it was. Basically, I didn't think the story for Recoded was necessary, and people say we just revisited the story of Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, and I got the vibe of that from watching the cinematic. But in the Datascape, the ending was necessary, people say, because that's all I'm willing to say about it, because even I forgot what happened in the cinematic, because it wasn't really that interesting or anything like that. But I admit, like, going into the Datascape and stuff, it was pretty a good thought of ideas, but I didn't really expect too much from it, so that's why I don't really mind if I never play that Recoded. But anyway, that's at my number 7 spot. I never played it, but the rest of these games are on this list are what I played, so I had to put this game there because it is a Kingdom Hearts game. So now at the number 6 spot, we have Rechain of Memories. So I played this in the entirety of this game on my PS2, and it was my second Kingdom Hearts game. Yeah, I think it was my second Kingdom Hearts game. I played this before I played Kingdom Hearts 1, which is kind of weird, but I had to do it like that. This makes its way this far on the list, at the end of the list, sorry, because I really didn't like the combat too much, but it was action-based enough for me to actually finish the game. I really did get invested in it a lot because the idea of the world was really awesome to me, because I was like in middle school when I played it, so it was alright. So we were in a castle that to remember is to forget, and to forget is to remember. So as a kid, I really did love that, and they mentioned that a lot throughout the game, and it stuck with me so much. Not only did I enjoy the world, I also loved the characters we went up against, and all of them were very memorable. That's what makes a Kingdom Hearts game, or a game in general, really good, because the characters are memorable and the story is memorable. I'm referring to the Organization 13 fights that we had in Recoded. Marluxia, however, was my all-time favorite after playing the game, and all I could think about was it would be so cool to fight all of them in the Kingdom Hearts 2 style, which we actually did get in the Kingdom Hearts 2 final mix. But I don't have those in the, so I just have the base game as the stuff. But obviously, okay, let's continue. Not only that, everything that happens in the game is actually necessary. We even got to see how Sora got to be in his pod going to sleep, so you know how we had to play as Roxas in Kingdom Hearts 2 and stuff like that. We even got to see how Sora ended up in the pod. So that's my number 6 spot, Rechain of Memories. Next we have Kingdom Hearts 1. I know that Kingdom Hearts 1 was our first game in the series, but it's aged a lot as newer Kingdom Hearts games came out. This was not my first Kingdom Hearts game, but I know it's like the first Kingdom Hearts game in the series. Also, it doesn't help that I only played Kingdom Hearts when 1.5 came out. That was the only time I really did get a chance to play it. I love this game because it introduced us into a world of Kingdom Hearts. Like that, it has to be on this list closer to the higher points, and it got a lot of things right, obviously. But anyway, one of the Disney fights were awesome, and I wouldn't expect anything less. That's one of the points that I liked, that all the Disney fights were really good, and this game really did get that part right. This game made me experience firsthand fighting the various Disney villains and stuff like that. The story about trying to save the worlds, yet also trying to look for your friends, was done well, and this was the first place we experienced any of this. I can't help but treat Kingdom Hearts like a little brother or sister that was improved upon through the various other entries in this series. However, I still have to flame this dude because I never want to visit Hollow Bastion in Kingdom Hearts 1 again. That's the only complaint I have for Kingdom Hearts 1. I stress out trying to navigate that world and everything like that. And whenever I want to start a new game, I always wonder if it's worth it, because I just get memories of playing Hollow Bastion and I'm like, yo, is this worth it? I don't want to go through this, dude. So that's the only point I have against Kingdom Hearts 1. But Kingdom Hearts 1 was truly like the first game that introduced this concept. It didn't age that well, but it has to be this high on the list, but it's still a good amount. Next we have 358 Days Over 2. Let me just come right out. The combat was very generic. None of the attacks looked powerful or unique or anything like that. And some of the controls for some of the fights were irritating and not good at all. So Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2, if you want to experience a good fighting system, this is not the game to go to. I actually thought that Chain of Memories fighting system was way more fun than this, but this is higher than Chain of Memories for reasons that you'll understand when I just tell you. But I still love this game a lot. Obviously what this game did well was the story, and that's everything that I love. A good story. This was actually the third Kingdom Hearts game I played, so I knew about Axel and Xion. And I mean, I knew about Axel and Roxas and loved those characters a lot, so I knew about them before this game. I played this game. This game made me love them even more, in addition with other awesome characters to complete the trio of friends, Xion. So Xion, Roxas, and Axel completed that trio. The story between them were so awesome. We saw strangers come together. They never knew anyone, but they had to work together and they became friends through different ways and stuff like that, and have awesome friendships. And then we saw it all fall apart because of other people with their own motives tearing the trio apart, because they had their own motives for each of the three of them, making them three think that their friendship was never real to begin with. But they did love each other, and it was just a tragic story that this 358 Days Over 2 presented to us, and that's why this game is pretty high on this list as one of my favorites, because of the story. This may actually be the most sad story in the Kingdom Hearts world between characters, because unlike any other trio we see in Kingdom Hearts, this trio never shows any signs in any other games of ever being able to come back together. So it's really sad, because it was due to uncontrollable circumstances. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, but just know it was sad for that. Alright, so next we have Kingdom Hearts 3D. The combat of this game was pretty great, so I love playing it without being annoyed or anything like of those reasons. I finally got to play this game because of the 2.8 remix. The story was necessary, and many parts of the story is in some cases done well, so well that it's hard to put this game so far back, but I have to. But like, okay, so anyway, I understand that it was just a side title game and should never be compared to the main titles, but that's no excuse. I didn't like the amount of worlds. Like, here's a few things that I didn't really like about this game. I didn't like the amount of worlds we visited. There were only 7 worlds, and yes, I understand that was for story purposes and a game on a weak console, but the amount of worlds were just a little bit too disappointing. Each was huge, but it had a little bit actually to do within each of them. A huge complaint I always make is that we barely got to fight any of the Kingdom Hearts unique villains, like, you know, Organization 13 and stuff. You know, Zigbar actually appears a lot in Dream Drop Distance, but we never got to fight him. At least they could have thrown him in if they were gonna throw in any other Organization 13 for any other reasons for like that. But also, only about 2 Disney boss fights. I'm thinking it was like those 3 little musketeer little dudes and Pete. I don't remember if there were any other Disney boss fights, but I'm just blanking. But I do remember there were a lot of Heartless boss fights, and they were done well, except for the annoying one at Pinocchio's world. I don't know, It was more annoying for Sora than Riku, but I still hated that boss nonetheless. I praised Dream Drop Distance for how well it did traverse town and interactions with the World Ends With You characters. They made up for the lack of Final Fantasy characters, which was a complaint I did have, but then I remembered, oh shoot, we actually had different characters like the World Ends With You, and I loved the music they always put. The interaction with those characters were really awesome. The interaction with Sora and Riku were moving, and the shocks and plot twists were also epic. So in this case, the great story and combat overpowers all the negatives I spoke about it earlier. Just to note, 3D felt like a mini episode instead of a fleshed out season due to the fact that it only took place in a short time span within the world of Kingdom Hearts. Also, at the time of writing this script, I realized that 3D was really good, and I actually moved it up to my top 3 Kingdom Hearts games. So that's why I was talking about it so poorly earlier, but now I realized, oh shoot, this is actually real. Next we have BBS. Birth by Sleep is my second most favorite game in the Kingdom Hearts series. So much was done right in this game. A lot of options for combat, like style changes, finisher moves, D-links, shot locks, and normal combat. We got a wide variety of options to use when we wanted to fight. So the next ability to fully play as all 3 main characters in Birth by Sleep and experience their stories firsthand really was awesome. We got that ability to just go into it instead of just getting only cutscenes of what each of them were doing. So we played as 3 different characters and understood how each of them worked. So we got to see how each character was different through many things like combat style, so they were different in the way they fought, how each of them interacted with the worlds they visited, and when they went to different worlds, we saw how each of them would interact with the Disney characters and the worlds. And then when their paths crossed in different worlds, words were exchanged and teamwork was had. So we got to really experience what these characters were like and their personalities. Not only did these things make Birth by Sleep great, but the story did also. This by far was the most important story presented in any of the side titles, and I considered the game to be a numbered title that was never numbered, basically. That's how highly I think of Birth by Sleep. We followed a trio of friends trying to succeed in becoming masters and learning all there was to learn about the world that they lived in. But because of a mastermind looking for power, the trio was led astray. One of them betrayed the master because of the evil person. The next treated the other 2 like they were to be watched, which was a bad trait that really led to distrust. And the one in the middle just wanted everyone to be together and happy like the old days and everything like that. In the land of departure. The evil person used and manipulated them, causing their friendship to fall apart, but at the end they found out this and they tried to fight together, but because of his actions, all 3 of them fell and they were separated against their will. So unlike the trio I spoke about in 358 Days Over 2, these 3 are expected to overcome their hardships by the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 and be reunited, hopefully giving them a happy ending or a fairy tale ending, or so we think. Finally, we have the star of the series, the mastermind, the godlike game. This is Kingdom Hearts' most perfect form to date. We have Kingdom Hearts 2. Where do I start when I want to talk about this? The combat is so perfect that during the middle of the game, Sora is already considered to be overpowered character. I'm not saying this as a bad thing because there are fights that will make you rage from being defeated so much. But let's talk about how well Kingdom Hearts 2 did the fighting. The boss fights with the Organization 13 members were the most memorable. When a game in general makes a fight fun and in-depth at the same time, you have good combat, this results in a Kingdom Hearts 2 game, basically. So you have so many abilities, but so does the enemy. So this keeps the fights fresh and new all the time. Next we visited so many worlds that I really enjoyed, each with awesome stories and awesome Disney boss fights and heartless boss fights. The story of the entire game got serious fast and was the best story in Kingdom Hearts any Kingdom Hearts game has told so far, basically. Everything was just so perfect. Interacting with Disney and Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts characters made this game so epic. So was this was also my first Kingdom Hearts game, but I've played the others and nothing compared to this one basically. Kingdom Hearts 3 has a lot to live up to. So basically, this is my list from my least favorite to my most favorite game. I loved all the games, however, and I hope you all get to play them or whatever. I hope, just tell me which games in your list from least favorite to most favorite, and I would love to hear them. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and share this video, and leave a comment on this video also. Thanks for watching this Key Wielder Oblivion.